Well, hey, Float Magic fans. We're coming to you from the IR sauna. We have a brand new sauna in here. So we wanted to kind of take the opportunity to show it off, but also wanted to invite one of our members, Ishmael. Anguiano. Yes, we're so glad that you're here with us because he has some great information and experience with our therapies here, not just sauna, but Novathor and other opportunities he's taken to recover. So we're going to talk a lot today about athletic recovery. We're going to lean on Ish's experience that he's had. He's trained for marathons. I'll kind of let him give a little history about how he got into training and how he found us.
Okay. So first off, my name is Ishmael. I'm a marathoner. I wasn't a marathoner in high school, or I didn't even run in high school at all whatsoever. I was actually a basketball player, to be honest. So how I guess you could say how I first became or been introduced to running was my older brother. His name is Jesse Anguiano. So he goes and he pretty much he runs a lot. And I have a younger brother as well, and I always hung out with him. I would always go out, play some basketball with him, and I kind of felt bad in a way because I have an older brother who I don't really spend that much time with. Mm-hmm. And so I went up to him one day and I told him, hey, what do you do for fun? What do you do? And he goes and he pretty much tells me, he's like, well, I run. And I was like, okay. He's like, you run? He's like, well, I'm not much of a runner, but I used to run maybe as a kid when I was 4 or 5 years old, maybe around the block and call it good, So I was like, I can run, I can do that. And he goes, he's like, let me join you. Let me do a run with you. And he goes, you really want to do a run? I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And he goes oh, okay. He's like, what do you? He's like, I have the Haunted Half. It's a runtastic event, and they're like, yeah, it's like, I'll sign you up for that, and we'll do our first run together. And he goes and tells me, so what do you want to sign up for, a 5K or half marathon or 10K or whatnot? I was like, this one didn't have a full marathon, but he goes and he pretty much tells me, he's like, which one do you want to sign up for? I'm like, well, which one are you doing? He's like, I'm doing this to hang out with you. And he goes, well, I'm doing the half marathon. And I'm like, well, then that's the one I want to do. And he goes, he's like a half marathon. He goes, it's like, yeah. He goes, you run a half marathon, I can run a half marathon.
We're related. We have the same genes,
that's
right?
what I'm thinking. I'm like, if you can do it, I can do it. I felt like I'm the athletic one in the family, but it's like my whole family's like that. And so he goes he's like, okay. He's like, you sure you want to do this? He's like, how about you try a 5K first? I'm like, no. He's like, I want to do what you're doing. I want to hang out with you. I'm doing this to hang out with you. Oh. And he goes, all right, if that's what you want. Well, we get ready. It's like maybe 2 weeks away. And I go and I start pretty much just getting on the bus and everything. I was like, I've never had this experience before, but I'm like, I'm hanging out with my brother. I'm having fun. I'm like, all right, let's do this. So we get up the mountain and we're up there and it is cold. It's cold. It's October.
I was going to say, if it was Haunted Half, it sounds like it should be in October.
Yeah, it's we're all dressed up in a costume. I'm going in as Spider-Man. He's going as the Joker. So it's definitely a fun event. That my brother's like, I think you're going to enjoy this one. And so we get in there and pretty much you see a lot of people with towels or blankets or something like that, try to stay warm. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, Jesse, I didn't know it was so cold up here. And I didn't know he was so popular in the running business because a lot of people came up to him like, oh, Jesse, you're here. And he goes this could be a good run for us and everything. What do you think you're going to do? And all this. And I'm like, man, Jesse, he's like, you're more popular than I thought, And he goes yeah. He's like, I go to a lot of runs. He's been running for about 5 years. This is my first run ever.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's like, and then finally someone comes up to him and pretty much says oh, how are you doing? He's like, are you ready for this run? He's like, are you gonna place first? I'm like, first? I'm like, how fast are you? And he goes, he's like, I've been training. We'll see how I do. He goes but this is my brother. He goes he's starting to run his first run ever. And he goes he's like, oh, well, there goes first and second. And I felt so bad because I was like, I'm not as fast as him. I was like, this is my first run. I don't know how fast this guy is. I'm gonna try to keep up with him, but I'm like, I don't think I'm going to get second place. There's over 1,000 runners here.
Right.
It's I don't think I'm going to be that fast. And so I'm like, oh, I felt bad because like they're telling him, it's like, oh, my brother's like he's gonna be just as good as he is. And we go and we run, and I end up placing 144 in that run.
What'd your brother place?
First.
He did.
He won.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
he won the whole thing. And it took me an hour and 48 minutes to complete this half marathon. But while I was running, I mean, I was tired. I was exhausted. I was like, mile 8 hit, and I'm like, man, why am I even doing this? Like, it broke me mentally, you can say. I was like, it's like, I don't want to do this again. He's like, and I had like little kids beating me. Like, you'd be surprised. It's like older people. I'm like, I feel like I should be in better shape than him. And so I thought about it, and I'm like, it's like, why am I putting myself through this, pretty much? And then I finally finish, and he's like, my brother comes up to me like, oh, you finished, good job, congratulations. How'd you do? Like, dude, it's like, I'm not gonna lie, man, I think I sucked it. Like, I did really, really bad. And he goes like, no, you couldn't have done that bad. I was like, I've only been here for like 30 minutes. 30 minutes? I'm like, he's like, that's a long wait. And he goes, let's go check out your time. And I think I was running like an 8-minute mile. Yeah. And I'm like, for some people, that's really good. They'll be proud of that.
I would be proud of that.
Yeah, like, they would be proud of that achievement. But for me, I was like, you came in first place, and I came in 144. Like, your friends are looking at you like, that's your brother? I'm like, that's definitely not what I was expecting. And he's like, ever since then, though, I was like, it's like, I got that medal and I hung it around my neck, and I'm like, I feel so good. I feel so accomplished. Then I'm like, I think I want to do this. I want to try to catch him. I want to try to, like, this rivalry, you could say, formed.
That healthy competition between siblings.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, that formed, and I was all like, I think I'm going to try to catch him. Like, let's see, how good can I possibly get to pretty much compete in this level?
Wow. And just to, put it in perspective, you got 144th out of like 1,000.
Yeah.
So you still did really, really well.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like, it's like I still did well because like people, like, they look at you, it's like, you did good. It's like I don't know
for your first race, no training.
Exactly. It's like I had 2 weeks to prepare for this run. I'm like, and I did good. It's like, but to me, in my eyes, I felt like I didn't make my brother proud.
Oh, I see.
So I was like, I need to get better so people don't see that, like, I'm not just my brother's, it's like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You can say. So like, I need to get to that level. And so I started training, and I think I became obsessed with running, and I became obsessed with getting better overall. It's like people would look at me and be like, it's like, I would run in the middle of the roads. It's just like, go out there and just like, pretty much just run like miles after miles after miles, and people would look up to my wife and everything, and they'd say, it's like, I saw your husband running the other day, and he goes like, how often does he run? And it's raining sometimes, it's hot outside, it's just like they always going up to them, and I was like, he's always running, and so I became pretty obsessed, and dove right into it. Yeah. So I started running a lot. I started doing some hill trainings. I started doing like a lot of like how do I say, like, I had I would say train my body and whatnot, and I had to learn how to become an actual runner. So I learned, for instance, how to recover, and I learned the benefits of like how much sleep a person needs, like how the body actually works overall.
Yeah. So it was an absolute presentation of that, right? Yeah. When you're putting your body in that stress point all the time.
Exactly. It's like so I had to learn a lot about that, and eventually came back a year later to run that same event, and coming right behind my brother. So
awesome. Had you run any others in between that?
Yeah, I ran a lot of events because obviously this was a year later. Sure. So, and I do a lot of Runtastic events and whatnot. So I ran them, pretty much all of them, and I was getting better and better and better. I became from like becoming like 144th to becoming 10th to becoming 8th to becoming 6th. And I've actually, won one. Yeah, I've actually won a couple of events. It's like I ran my first marathon, which my brother paced me to it and whatnot. And letting you know, my first marathon, like I ended up getting 3 hours and 44 or 48 minutes. So it was
wow.
like I ran my first marathon and I was like mile 23, my legs gave out on me.
Wow.
Like I was on course to do a pretty good time in my opinion. But my first marathon was like 3 hours and 48 minutes because I had to walk the last 3 miles. My brother, ran it with me to make sure I can withstand those many miles. Because I mean, your body is going, like it's going through pain. Like you're tearing down your muscles step after step after step.
Right.
It's like after going 20 some miles, like your body ain't got nothing left.
Sure.
Like
I mean, it's expending, if you didn't fuel it right, or if you didn't train it right, or even then, I mean, I'm sure it's hard to pinpoint exactly what your body needs in those circumstances.
Exactly.
The weather, the terrain.
Everything. And my first marathon was nothing like, any of my other runs. It was hailing up in the mountains. Yeah, it was hailing.
No wonder.
It was a snowstorm, right?
Yeah.
You normally get a water break every you got your little staging areas every 2 or 3 miles. We didn't get our first one till mile 13 or 14.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So
what did all the volunteers hide away?
Because it was snowing, it was hailing, so the volunteers did
goodness.
not even show up until we got lower down in the mountain or lower down the mountains because
it was maybe too treacherous.
It was just really bad. Like it was really bad. Like my brother goes in, like we're on the bus, and he says, "No one's gonna PR in this race." He's like, "Except for you, because this is your first run." He's like, but other than that, no one else is gonna PR.
You can hold the banner, "I PR'd in a hailstorm."
Yeah, exactly. So I'm over here. It's like I got up at the mountain. I looked at my brother. I'm like, Jesse, I just want to come down. Like I don't want to go. I don't want to run this run. Like I was scared.
Sure.
And he goes and he's like, we are the bus. We are the way down. Like, he's like, the only way down is to run it down. And he's like, oh, that bus driver got me here. He can get me back down. And I go and it's like, dude, we gotta run it. He's like, just slow. It's like don't go too fast. You don't want to trip and fall and whatnot. So I'm like, I don't want to go out there. I don't want to go out there at all.
Wow.
But after about mile 13 or 14, the snow gave up, and we started finally seeing some stages where I'm like, water. I mostly chugged like 4 or 5 of those stages because I was so thirsty. Yeah. And just pretty much like, okay, well, we did that. Like it was crazy. It was like it was a 3:48 time. So I'm like, I feel back to like where I started again. Like my time is back to the 8-minute mile. I'm like, I've trained so long, and it's like I'm back to where
come full circle back to the beginning.
Exactly. And then I finally, just most recently, did my another marathon. I finally like PR'd. I did a pretty good run. I ended up getting a 2:36. So I went from a 3:48 time to a 2:36.
Wow.
And that's shaving off a lot of minutes. Like you're cruising.
So with your training, I think we had something pretty exciting happen recently, right?
Yeah. When I ran that 2:36 in Denver, Colorado, I ended up qualifying for Boston. So my brother and I will be going to Boston.
Both of you.
Both of us. I was 20 seconds behind him.
Oh, that's so great.
We pretty much finished the same time. So it's like that was definitely my happy moment for me. He's like, this is why I started running, was to run with him. Yeah. And to not be able to slow him down. I was like, wow, I'm only 20 seconds behind the guy. He's like, I can see him. We can see each other crossing the finish line. I'm like, this is perfect. And then he comes up to me, gives me a big hug. He's like, I'm going to tell you right now, dude, we just qualified for Boston.
Oh, how cool.
So
what a cool brother moment.
We will be running in Boston in April.
That's awesome.
Definitely has been because of this place.
Sweet. So, well, congratulations. That's what a great accessment. So I can't wait to be watching the brothers run.
Oh, that'll be something interesting to watch for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think that's incredible. And why I was inspired to ask you to come on this podcast is because you had talked about how much of this recovery aspect is helping you in your training process. And so where has that really, where have you seen that benefit the most?
So, for instance, there was this run. I ended up placing first, and I ended up like pretty much winning it after I came in like 10th place the year before. Wow. And some guys come up to me and pretty much say, it's like, hey man, I remember when you were in like 10th place. Like, it's like, I didn't expect you to win it all this year.
Come back in 1 year.
Yeah, in 1 year and win it all. It's like, I think these guys have been training for their whole lives. And they come up to me and ask me, like, how'd you do it? Like, how was that even possible in 1 year, coming from a 1:44 time half marathon to running that run, and I got a 1:12, I believe.
Oh,
yeah,
30 minutes, 32 minutes.
I shaved 30 minutes. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's like I wasn't even. It's like you weren't even in competition back then, and all of a sudden you come down and you go and you win it. I was like, I want to know, like, how'd you do this? Well, like I said, I started training my body, and I started like learning how to actually become a runner. So I ended up telling him, it's like, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's like, I don't have any secrets. Why? Because you still got to put in the work. Yeah. To beat me. Like, you still got to put in the work, or you still got to train your body to become better, to become faster. So I told him, I told him how many miles I ran that day. He's like, but the most important part in my training has become my recovery. And so he's like, and I told him that, he's like, you really gotta just recover so you can bounce back quicker. And he's like, to me, I noticed that I was running every day, but every day I was slower because I tried to run day after day after day. And so I started thinking, I'm like, well, maybe I got to train every other day. And he's like, but then my miles got cut back, and I'm like, I'm not running as many miles. It's like, I'm like, there has to be a better way. So I ended up finding this place, Flow Magic. And I'm like, okay. It's like, my brother told me about it, and he goes, you need to try this out. He's like, they say it really helps with your recovery. So I started thinking, that might be the key. That might be the secret ingredient that I need to become better. So I'm like, I'm gonna give this place a shot. And the first thing I tried here was the Novathor. So then I was like, okay, how does this help me out? I read the pamphlets and whatnot, and how it helps you rejuvenate and recover and bounce back faster. I'm like, okay, let's try. That's what I need.
Put it to the test,
yeah, let's
right?
Put it to the test.
Yeah.
That's what I need. So I got a membership here, and I pretty much started like using it, like, 2 or 3 times a week. So I was like, okay. And I felt it. I felt like I was like getting back quicker. I felt like my body was recovering a lot faster. And so I'm like, this is working. I can run every day and not have to worry about being slower, or I don't have to worry about my muscles getting weakened and stuff. So it's like, hey, this is working. I just gotta keep this up. I gotta keep doing this. It's like, I gotta get faster. This is how I'm gonna do it. So then I started thinking, I'm like, okay, well, I'm using the Novathor here. How do I keep getting better? How do I just keep improving? Yeah,
because your body can adapt to certain, therapies. It gets to a certain point, and the Novathor is used widely by Olympians, professional athletes. It's a tool for success that they use, absolutely. But there are other opportunities to expend your body and push it. So.
And that's exactly what I dug into. Like, for instance, okay, this is helping me out a lot. It's like, I want to keep changing my body up. I don't want it to get used to. I don't want it to adapt. So right. Because when it gets adapt, like it gets comfortable. And when it gets comfortable, you start being used to that, and your body just starts plateauing.
Yep, exactly.
So I was like, okay. It's like, well, I'm using the Novathor here. How do I use this place to my advantage? And I saw the sauna. I was like, okay. It's like, no. It's like, I run in the heat. But it's like, I also run it in the evenings. Like, but I've also noticed that, running in the heat helps you out a lot too.
Right.
So then I'm like, okay, how do I use the sauna to help me out? And so I started reading the pamphlet. I started reading a lot of articles about it, and how the sauna is just so good for your body, and how it just helps you just become a better runner. So I'm like, I'm going to give this a shot. So I try it out. And wow, my first experience using it was awesome. I mean, at first I was like, I'm not gonna like being in the heat for that long.
Sure.
Like, that's a longer time to be in the heat.
It's a little, it's almost like your first run in the hill. You're like, am I really gonna sit there in the heat for an hour?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that really gonna benefit me?
And that's what I thought. I was like, how would I feel if I ran an hour outside in the heat? And now I'm just putting myself through that. Like, I'm just gonna sit in there for an hour, and I'm like, I'm gonna give it a shot anyway. So I signed up for a whole hour. I was like, let's do this. See how long my body can actually stand in the heat, and pretty much see where I'm at.
Yeah.
I lasted about 45 minutes. I'm not gonna lie.
Which is pretty typical for people's first sauna. That's actually
like,
pretty good. So
yeah, I was like, but I'm telling you right now, though, I wanted to give up after like 30 minutes, at 25 minutes. I wanted to stop.
Yeah.
But I kept telling myself, okay, I got this thing of water right here. I got to make it last. I got to make it last this 45 minutes. And so I tried it out, and the guy pretty much ended up asking me, he's like, well, how does the sauna help you? So I ended up asking, or I ended up telling him, he's like, well, let me tell you how the sauna actually works, what it actually does. And he's like, your body uses energy, or uses oxygen to cool you down. Okay, so for instance, when you're breathing, depending on how hot your body is, it's going to cool you down naturally with using that oxygen. So it's called VO2. It's how much oxygen your body can take in. And so since it's using it to cool you down, it's not using your oxygen is not pretty much going into your muscles the way it should to help you keep going, if that makes sense. It's using it to cool you down instead. Well, I don't want it to do that. I want it to go to my muscles so I can run longer, run faster, run.
So you have that energy in the workhorse, which is your muscles.
Exactly.
Yeah, instead of maintaining your breath and your body mechanisms.
It's like, so I ended up telling him that, and I'm like, hey, it's like, this is what, this is how you're going to run faster, run longer. It's like, we got to run for 26.2 miles. That's a long time.
That's a long time.
Yeah. It's like, so using heat acclimation or heat training to make your body adapt to that kind of stress level, that kind of heat, is what I'm using the sauna for.
Yeah.
So he goes like, so how it benefited me was, for instance, my breathing just became a lot more efficient, better. It's my VO2 went from like a 54 to like a 62, 63 now. So it's like I'm breathing. So my watch is telling me that I'm breathing a lot better.
Yeah, more efficiently.
Exactly. And not just that, like for instance, my heart rate, it went down. Like I was there. I mean, there's times where I got my heart rate up to a 202.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
So 202 beats per minute, which is not very,
that's not very healthy
yeah,
for,
not very healthy.
Yeah. Okay. That's really putting a lot of stress on that heart.
It's like, so that's a lot of, it's like, it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of, you're putting your heart through a lot.
Yeah.
But then my average was about a 186. Okay. But it did get up to a maximum of, like I said, 202.
Right.
So I'm like, okay. He's like, but ever since I started using the sauna and pretty much just coming here regularly, I went from that 182 to a 165.
Oh, okay? Wow.
My heart was working way, way more efficient than I would have if I wouldn't have done this. So, like, just the reason that really, well, I don't want to interrupt you. The reason that those mechanisms work in this environment, they call it hormetic stress. Your body gets used to these teeny increases in stress points in kind of a manageable way, almost like we talked, going to the gym and lifting weights. Yeah.
The smaller you start off with smaller weights, but then you can work your way up to bigger weights because you're stressing your body in those incremental advancements. And that's what hormetic stress therapies can do for a person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so how do I say, like, for instance, that stress level that you're going into, like, it helps a lot. Like that even that part of that training is good for your body, you can say, because like you hit a wall. Like when you're running, you hit like mile 20. Some people hit that wall. Mile 18 people hit that wall. Sometimes I've hit it in mile 23. Yeah. Even running at a half marathon, I hit the wall sometimes. So learning to adapt to that stress level and pretty much training your mind to like deal with those levels of stress. Yeah. And this place has definitely helped me, because I told you I wanted to give up at like 25 minutes, 30 minutes.
Right.
Okay. So I'm over here. I'm like, it's like using the sauna. I'm trying to get up to like 45 minutes. I'm trying to last 45 minutes in the sauna. It's like, and I've eventually adapted to be able to last an hour in here. Sure. So I'm like, okay. It was like, I definitely have gotten to that level.
Well, yeah, and that's one thing we're excited about adding, of course, the cold plunge too, right? That's going to be another element where you're getting that hormetic stress on the opposite spectrum.
Exactly.
And it's almost, the sauna is kind of a longer process to get to that hormetic stress, but that cold plunge, you're in it, and in like
instant,
a minute or even, maybe 20 seconds, you're just like, what am I doing? I want to get out of here. Yeah. But to your point, pushing that, pushing your body in these small incremental ways leading in your recovery process is exactly. It's just been fascinating to me to watch you come in and see you so passionate about your training and what it is you're doing. And it's truly been an honor to be part of the recovery and part of the process.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So yeah.
I definitely this place has changed my running experience. I've just using this place alone has increased my running at least 30%. Okay. Wow. I never thought I'd be able to get to this level of running until I started using this place, and I started coming here, and I'm just noticing my gains come a lot quicker.
Yeah.
And that's what athletes are looking for. They're looking for that competitive edge. They're looking for that little bit extra that they can do to get better.
Absolutely.
And I feel like this place has done that for me. Honestly, hands down, the best recovery place I've ever been to. Honestly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That makes me super happy.
And not just that, even just using the sauna alone, I can tell you by experience, because I work night shift. I work night shift a lot, and I want to get back to days, but it's just a matter of time. But so saying that, I only sleep so much. Okay, this is literally my day. My day is, I go to work. I work a 12-hour shift, and afterwards I come home. I go to bed about 7 o'clock, 7:30, and then I sleep until 1 o'clock. So I get maybe 4 or 5 hours of sleep in there. Okay.
Wow.
So I wake up by 1 o'clock. I try to get up by 12:30. That way by 1 o'clock I'm out the door running. Okay. And I go and I do my run. I come back, I shower, I go back to work. Okay.
Wow.
So I get very minimal sleep as it is. So using the sauna, it actually, from what I've looked up and what I've experienced out of it, you get a better sleep. You go into a deeper sleep, and you just in general get a better sleep overall. Yeah. And I felt it. It's when this place went down for a little bit, and I couldn't use it.
Right. When we took it away for a short little bit.
You took it away for a little bit for construction, and I'm thinking it's gonna be better. It's gonna be better. It's just gotta hold on. But I felt it. I felt it immediately. I was
knew.
It's why am I I want to sleep in. I want to stay asleep longer. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
It's I used to do this all the time. I used to get up and just go running. I was I don't to me, I'm am I in that phase where I just don't want to run anymore or something? I thought
your recovery was missing.
That's what it was. I started thinking, well, what have I changed in my routine that I just haven't done in a while that's making me want to sleep longer? And that's when I started looking up the sauna. I'm like, does the sauna help you sleep better? So I started scrolling on Google and whatnot. And I just started looking up. I was like, it does.
Yeah.
It helps you sleep better.
And so does the Novathor, actually, too. They both combined, and individually, they both help with sleep. So.
There you go. So I was like, it does. And that's what I'm missing. They took it away for 2 weeks. I can't even
we
use
affected your sleep. I'm so sorry.
I thought it was the funniest thing ever. I'm it's something that you didn't know that was helping you out in that aspect. And then all of a sudden, they take it away.
Well, and we see that a lot. We'll see people come in and use some of our services, and then they get busy and they go away for whatever, or maybe they go on vacation, and then when they come back in, they're like, I am missing this.
Yeah.
I need it until it's gone. You don't miss.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know what you got till it's gone.
Exactly.
So it's been very rewarding for us to watch our community access and utilize this place to optimize every aspect of themselves. And you're a prime example of that. So I felt like you were just fantastic.
It was definitely something that I noticed. I was like, I'm not sleeping better. And then all of a sudden I started getting more sick. Because I was it's because I wasn't getting enough sleep, and I was trying to force my body to get up. It almost like
a domino. Yeah.
I started telling my body, hey, I need to get up. I need to get up to go running. And so I ended up forcing myself, no, this is what we're doing. We got to get up. We got to go run. And all of a sudden I started getting less sleep, or I just not a deeper sleep. I still got the same amount of hours,
Sure.
but I wasn't getting
the same length of sleep, not the same quality.
The same quality.
Yeah.
It's like my watch was telling me that I got a poor sleep.
Well, it's well known that our recovery comes in a deep sleep process. So if we're not getting that deep sleep, our body isn't having an opportunity to recover. I mean, we could sleep, 5 hours, and if we only have 20 to 30 minutes of deep recovery sleep.
Exactly.
It's not going to give us.
It's not the same effect as if you slept the same amount of time, but got a better quality of sleep.
Absolutely.
It's like because you'll feel that instantly. Okay. So I'm like, you can definitely I don't know, the muscle gains. Like you can tell how you. Just using the sauna in general, since you're able to run a lot longer and you're able to bounce back a lot quicker, you start exercising more. So when you exercise more, your muscles are going to get stronger.
Sure.
So it just starts to adapt, you can say. So I started adding more miles into my training. It's like, okay, well, I went for an 8-mile run today. Let's try a 10-mile run. Okay, if I went from 10, let's try 11 miles. It's like slowly started to increment that. To the point where I'm at now is I can run 13 miles and feel like I only ran 8 miles originally.
Wow.
So you're building up that muscles to run a longer period of time and feel okay. So for instance, my heart rate was still lowered. It's like, and I ran 13 miles. Okay. It's like for some people that goes like, you ran 13 miles. Like, yeah, I ran 13 miles. Like, how'd you feel? And I'm over here. I'm like, well, it's like, I feel like when I just started, it's like I ran my 13 miles, but still feel like I only ran 6 or 7.
Yeah.
It's like, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge when it comes to the running.
That's like a 50% market improve. Well, 100%, you could run 100% more with that improvement process.
Exactly.
So, well, I just think it's fascinating. And I'm so thrilled that you were open to coming on my podcast today. And speaking to the audience about what it was that you've seen this place bring to you. And
hands down, I'm not lying. The sauna and even the Novothor, and I'm trying out your how do you say those little the floats? The
flotation therapy.
The flotation therapy. I haven't really got into that yet, but I'm definitely going to try that out and just see how that works. I think
that's next level too, because it's that visualization.
You got to keep switching it up a little bit. And I hear the water's really good when it comes to recovery and whatnot. So I'm going to try that. Awesome. But hands down, the sauna has done just amazing work. I can't put it into words or even explain how much it's helped me out. It's like just learning to adapt to the heat and just being able to just do that, because in the winter we don't have that. It's like and all these professional athletes, they train in these elevations, they train in these heat, just in general. It's like, so I'm like how
as an advantage.
Yeah, it's like, so I'm like, how can I get into that? It's like without obviously being in a cold and just putting sweaters on to try to keep me hot and trying to get used to that.
Getting a sweatsuit
or you're doing something like that. So I was like, it's like when just finding out about float magic just in general, I was like, this was it couldn't have been any better. Honestly, it couldn't have been any better. I recommend it all the time to all my friends and all the athletes that tell me, how'd you do it? Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. You got to try this place. You got to try Float Magic, because it will change your world. It's like, I dare you to run 26.2 miles and not have it change your life. It's like, so I using this to run, man, I'm grateful for this place. Yeah. I'm telling you right now, I'm grateful for this place because of how much it's helped me out. Okay, just getting that little extra competitive edge is what people are looking for, and that's what I was looking for, and that's what this place has done for me.
Awesome.
So, honestly,
I love it. Thank you so
really
much for that glowing review and recommendation of us.
It's not even you say that, but it's just not. It's not even it's not even that. It is true. Yeah. It really is, because it's helped me out that much, and I got the the proof. And if people ever want to see it, you can.
See people are seeing it.
Yeah, you can see the difference, and it's hands down best training ever. So
awesome.
Implementing this, it will help anybody. So
well, perfect. Well, We are, again, just so grateful to you, Ish. Thank you for your support of us. We're happy to be part of your journey, and excited to get this out to the viewership and the clients that we have, so that maybe they can think of ways they can incorporate this into their own recovery process. So
I say give it a shot.
Yeah.
Give it a shot, and like I said, it will change you.
Awesome.
It'll change you. You just gotta come in here, try it out. You're hooked probably by day one. I'm not lying. I was hooked. I was hooked by day one. So I was like, I tried it out. I'm like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it.
Here's where we're at.
Yeah.
And just keep in mind, our saunas will still keep you salty. So
there you go. It's like, and you're getting upgrades here soon. So
yeah.
I was like, I'm excited to try all this out. So
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. And just remember, it's perfectly okay to stay salty.